Shalom. Thank you for joining me. I'm in Matthew chapter 7. I'm going to start in verse 15. This is part of the Sermon on the Mount in which Jesus is teaching his followers, his apprentices, his Talmudim, as it says in Aramaic, his apprentices. He's teaching them the ethics of kingdom living. And he says in Matthew chapter 5, verse 20, which is the fulcrum, the peg on which the whole sermon hangs, is that your righteousness has to exceed the righteousness of the scribes and the Pharisees. Now, this is important to understand that because their righteousness was based on external obedience to rules and regulations, and Jesus is saying your righteousness has to exceed that. You can't just obey the rules and the regulations. That's not enough. Your righteousness has to come from your heart. And here he is talking about the difference between true and false prophets and true and false disciples. And so beginning in verse 15, and this is where he begins to talk about what does it mean to be a real follower? What does it mean to be a true follower of him? And he begins to describe it in verse 15. Watch out for false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves. By their fruit you will recognize them. Do people pick grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? Likewise, every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Thus, by their fruit you will recognize them. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and in your name drive out demons, and in your name perform many miracles? And then I will tell them plainly, I never knew you. Away from me, you evildoers. Now, then it says this. Let's back up a little bit. Jesus is saying the word false and prophets. It's the word pseudo-propheton. Pseudo means false. A prophetos. Prophetos is the word for a prophet. These are false prophets. They're fake prophets. They're spurious prophets. And notice these are prophets that are doing things like casting out demons. They're performing miracles, he says. And he also says these false prophets are prophesying. They're preaching in his name. So in other words, they look and they act like the real thing. They do miracles like the real thing. But the difference is, Jesus said, I never knew you. I have no relationship with you. You learned the language of Zion, so you talk like you went to church. You learned what it looked like to cast out demons, and you even did it. You formed miracles. You healed people. You had healing revivals, and you were the fancy preacher or preacherette, and you had your own TV show. You had your own podcast. You had your own website. You wrote your own books, and you had hundreds of thousands of people giving you money. Yeah, by their fruit you will know them. You know, the one thing I've discovered, a lot of the people who are these phony $3 bill prophets, they have mansions, airplanes, limousines, diamonds, fancy clothes, security guards, investments, lots of secrets. The people who are true followers of Jesus Christ have nothing to hide, nothing to follow. They are not seeking riches. They are not seeking to get rich. And in fact, I believe some of the people who have the greatest rewards in heaven are the folks who have lived the poorest here on this earth, who have been despised, and those folks who have been looked at and looked down upon because they don't have all the accoutrements of fame and fortune and power. By their fruits you will know them. The people who are genuine followers of Jesus are different than the people who are following Jesus so they can get rich and get power and get fame. Not the same people. And Jesus said, By their fruit you will know them. And the key difference is this: they never knew him because he never knew them. And on that last day, they will not be entering into the kingdom of heaven. But those who were the genuine followers of Jesus, who were seeking first his kingdom and his righteousness, and they weren't seeking to get rich, to get famous, to get power and influence. They weren't living like millionaires. They will be entering the kingdom of heaven and have great rewards there. By their fruit you shall know them. Thanks for joining me.